and they didn't have the right foundation. And so I didn't grow up, with a lot of money. I didn't grow up, when my sister died when I was 11, and that affected my family emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, because she was a caregiver. And so the minute I could start working, like literally in high school, I started working at restaurants just to buy myself like a nice bag. Like, when you're in high school and you just want to like fit in. So I started working immediately, but it was during quarantine that I got into a car accident and I realized that I need to find a way to make money that doesn't involve my body working at restaurants, right? And I am a painter. So I wanted to make sure that I can, also spend time painting, right? Save the energy I have for painting. And that's when I started, researching trading. And a friend of mine from high school hit me up and said, "Hey, I have opportunity for you." And here I am almost 4 years later. That was July 2021. So here I am almost 4 years later. This is literally the third team I've been a part of. And I couldn't be more than happier. Like what we have here, the family we have, the community we have, the foundation we have, right? The Alpha Society videos, right? Everything we have here is absolutely solid. So that said, that's who I am. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the training for Austin. I'm going to do the first few slides and we are going to go over tap rooting today. So tap rooting and building levels deep. Does anybody not know what tap rooting is? And it's okay because I remember I used to hear that word thrown a lot. I was like kind of too shy to ask my mentor at the time. I don't know why, right? Don't be shy to ask your mentors what things mean, right? That's what we're here for, right? Don't let your ego get in the way. That's what we're here for. But so for those, and if you've heard about tap rooting multiple times, right, you're hearing it from, a different voice,
Okay.
what is tap rooting, right? Tap rooting is the process of building deep within a leg of your organization by identifying and supporting the most serious and committed people. So I'm going to give you an example, right? I'm under Angelica's organization, right? And she placed a very studious student under me. And so I made sure to go out of my way to introduce myself to him, even though he wasn't someone that I personally signed up, right? Even though he wasn't someone that one of my mentees signed up, I made sure to go ahead and I made sure to message him and say, hey, bro, like, I'm Pamela. If you ever need me for anything, like, please let me know. That's one example of tap rooting, like making sure that you know everyone on your team. And that doesn't mean that you necessarily, like, as your team grows bigger and bigger, it doesn't mean you necessarily, mentor and hop on Zoom calls with everyone on your team, but it's to make sure that you introduce yourself to everyone on your team, right? Because at the end of the day, they are pushing you up. Right. And maybe sometimes you can help them with something and have a different perspective, right? So that is one example of tap rooting, right? Another example of tap rooting is let's say Rosie, gets JoJo started and JoJo gets Crystal started, right? And Crystal wants to build this business, right? So, but JoJo is maybe, still learning how to be a leader, right? Maybe he just got 2 and 3, right? His first few months, he's nervous. He's like, I don't want to be a mentor. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Right. And Rosie can go ahead and she can train Crystal and have JoJo watch. Right. So even though Rosie did not personally sign up Crystal, Crystal is still in Rosie's organization. Right. That is tap rooting, right? It's making sure that you are helping every single person, every single name that's under your organization. Right. So if that makes sense, type of 1-1 in the chat, right? If that makes sense, type of 1-1. Why it's crucial, right? Number one, stability. A deep organization sustains long-term success, right? If everyone on your team knows who you are and they know that they can come and talk to you, maybe they're shy to tell their mentor that they don't want to build a business or they're blown their trading account, right? Or whatever it is, right? If you've ever been shy to tell your mentor something, but you went and told somebody else on your team, like, please have a 1-1 in the chat because I've definitely done that. I've definitely done that. I'm like, I do not want to tell my mentor that this happened. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to tell somebody else on the team and maybe they can help me out. Right. So that is why, it builds stability. It builds knowing that the people in your org can come to you if they personally don't want to go to their mentor, right? They're leveraging you as well. I don't know if that was the best example, but I hope that that was okay for me to say. Second, momentum, right? Momentum. Stronger duplication leads to exponential growth, right? This is the example what I said with Rosie, Jojo, and Crystal, right? Because Rosie is helping Jojo with his network, with his team, it's not only going to build momentum in Crystal, but it's going to build momentum in Jojo as well, right? It's going to build momentum as a whole, right? And rank investments. More structure equals faster promotions, right? Goes back down to trust, right? Everyone on your team trusting you. You can go ahead and you can go to the next slide, Austin, please. Thank you so much. All right. Second thing, the customer to business building journey. So I'm going to go a little bit more into my story. I was resisting being a leader in this space, right? I was a painter, an introvert that came in and I just wanted to learn how to trade. And my upline that first got me into this in 2021, he kept telling me that, I see potential in you. I see potential in you. But it wasn't that I didn't believe that I could impact people. It's just that I didn't have like enough belief in myself and I needed more experience and more time with the product, right? Becoming a product of the product, understanding trading, right? I needed that time. There are going to be some of us, you're going to probably get in a student and they see, how building can impact immediately. Like, you don't even need to, they don't even need to be a product of the product. They're like, I see the vision. I want to do this. I'm going to go 2 and 3 the first month, right? Some people are like that, but some people need more time, right? Some people need more time. And it's your responsibility as a leader to recognize where your students are at, right? Recognize, what is their personality? What are the things what excuses do they make that you can see right through it, right? What ways do you see that, their potential, right? So it's your responsibility as a leader to identify that in your students, right? If someone wants to come in and they see the vision automatically, all right, go. Let's like throw them into the fire, throw them to Alpha Society Launchpad, all of that, put them in a focus group, practice the perfect invite identification. But if it's someone that they have they have the potential and they say, I am interested in building the team, but, I want to learn, how to trade first or whatever, that is where you come in and you make sure that they become product of the product, that they become a customer. Zion always talks about being a product of the product. Like that's how I identify Zion, right? Product of the product. I've heard him talk about that so many times, right? It's like stuck in my head with his voice, right? So you as a leader, if someone is feeling hesitant towards building the business, that's okay. It doesn't mean they're never going to build the business. It doesn't mean they're never going to be a leader. And that's in my experience, right? It took me a long time. Even though I went 2 and 3, I think my first month or second month, something like that. I was 2 and 3 for like a year. I was holding on to 2 and 3 because I didn't feel like I could. I didn't feel like I had the emotional capacity to go ahead and build the team, right? Yeah, free education though. Exactly. I definitely took advantage of that. And my first student ever is still with me. Like she's still with me and she's killing her trading account, right? I'm so proud of her. But like an example, and I'm giving my example because I know we all have a student in our team that's kind of like that. Like you see the potential in them. They're kind of testing the waters with, maybe talking about it on our social media, but every time you bring up, doing a focus group or you bring up them launching their business and they kind of start hesitating, right? This is where you just, maybe you take a pause on, building the business talk and you just make sure that they're plugged in, right? The customer becomes educated, your student becomes educated, plugging into live trading sessions, taking the trades on the app, making sure that they understand their e-commerce store. This is where you really be hands-on with your students, right? Whether they're going to build a business or not, but this is really making sure that if they need help, do a workshop session. I did a workshop session. My words. I did a workshop session with one of my students today. She's building her e-com store and she didn't know where to start. And I was like, listen, let's just hop on a workshop session. We'll put on some music. We'll work on our store together, right? Making sure that whether it's trading, crypto, or e-commerce, right, they're learning the skill to see personal progress. And then they start getting results, whether that is trading wins in their demo or they DCA'd into crypto and they start seeing, I remember the first time I saw like my real money like double. I was automatically excited to share it. I told all my coworkers, right? I told all my friends. It's natural when you start seeing results in yourself, and it doesn't always have to be monetary, right? As we all know, like whether you hop on Mornings with Nano or do personal development and you start seeing results in your mindset and spiritually, right? Whether your student is seeing results in the gym, some people really just need a space of positivity. Before I came into this, I grew up in the hood in Queens, right? I didn't have, my friends would be like, let's smoke weed on the weekends, right? Those were my friends. And it's, not that they're bad people. It's just that I realized I needed something more. And every time I talked about being a millionaire, like I was laughed at. Pamela, you're like delusional, right? Like you're an artist, right? You're delusional, right? So some people, yeah, I was really from the block, right? Some people, and that New York accent is always gonna be there with me, no matter how you know, professional I am, the New York will always come out. But some people just see progress just being in the positive space, right? As long as they're seeing progress and you're emphasizing your students' progress, right? They're gonna naturally start thinking in their head, oh, maybe I could share this with someone. Maybe they won't tell you, right? But maybe they'll start thinking like, oh, I do want to share, or they start sharing with, other people, just talking about it, right? So making sure that all of your students start getting results in some way or another, right? And then getting results leads to launching, right? Again, leveraging excitement, right? The moment you see your student get excited, right? We want to like add wood chips to the fire, right? We want to start adding to their excitement, right? That's the time where you, as a leader, you actually, you add wood to their fire, right? Maybe posting them on Instagram, tagging them, right? Whatever it is to make sure that they keep up that momentum, because that is what's going to make them say, actually, a friend of mine, my friend Susie, would love to be a part of this because she is, she needs a positive group, or my friend Susie saw I doubled my crypto portfolio and, she's starting to see it on the sidelines and she might be good, she'll be good for this, right? Showing them you believe in them. Exactly, Luz, right? Yeah, and plugging into the Alpha Launchpad. Listen, when I came in 2021, which all of you guys who've been here for a while, we did not have anything like Alpha Society website, right? And I know that all the leaders here talk about like, please take advantage of that website, right? Please watch all the videos, right? It used to be my upline giving me like, calling me at 10 p.m. and doing a random training that I didn't even ask for, right? That I didn't even ask for. You would call me and you would just do a random training, right? And now here we have Alpha Society where not only you can leverage, but now your students are coming into foundation that's actually solid and they see that, right? I'm pretty sure that my experience with building might have been different if I had something like Alpha Society when I first came in, right? Austin, you could go ahead and move on to the next slide. If you guys are enjoying this training, if you're getting, some value from this training, please type value in the chat. Okay, so the 3 golden rules of tap rooting, right? Find the fire. Who's the most excited and coachable and willing to grow, right? Work with them personally to create momentum. I know I keep saying momentum, adding wood to the fire, and we're all saying that, but that's really, really the truth, right? Going back to the example, I hope you guys are okay with me using you guys as examples, but Rosie, Crystal, and JoJo, right? Let's say JoJo is not so excited to build the business yet, right? He's like, I actually just went his face. He's like, I actually just want to work on my UGC, or I just want to work on my trading. But Crystal's like on fire. She's like, I'm ready, right? This is where you, as a leader in your organization, you say, okay, like I don't have to force JoJo to build the business, but once he sees Crystal, start popping ranks or start helping other people or, going to and free, JoJo's going to naturally feel the effect of that, right? It's like the domino effect. So who's the most excited and who's the most coachable, right? Yeah, that's what I got to say with that. Work deeper, not just wider, right? Don't just recruit people, help every new person tap into their network. And I'm going to give a personal example. I have a student, Brian, and he wants to build the business. Like he's all for it, right? Even before, he came onto the team, we were already working together, right? We were already masterminding together. We decided to do mastermind podcasts on Thursdays, right? Special gem. Yes. Mastermind podcast on Thursdays where we go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Right. And actually tonight, Luce is going to be a special guest. So make sure you guys tune on, right? Make sure you guys tune on. And we're really, really excited for Luce to be a special guest because Luce is one of my role models. But that's a side note, right? We started Masterminds podcast where Brian brings special guests, I bring special guests. But when Brian brings his special guest and his network, they get to meet me on the podcast. And then after the podcast, I get to follow them on Instagram. It's like an edification, right? He just edified me and he edified his special guest. And now I'm actually in multiple conversations with multiple people in Brian's network, helping him along the way, right? Brian became 2 and free the first month. I'm super proud of you, bro. And as Brian is learning how to be a leader, right? As he's learning how to be a leader, I'm taprooting into his network and showing him how I'm having conversations, right? So not only am I helping Brian build his business, but Brian is also becoming a leader within the process, right? So let me know if that makes sense, right? And so I think our Masterminds podcast is really, really dope because, now Brian's the one that's like the face, and then I'm the one that can go ahead and close them out, right? And he can learn in the process, and he can go ahead and he can duplicate that, with his new leader that we have on the team, right? So that's the power of duplication over motivation, right? That alone, me working alongside Brian and his network, tapping into his network, that is training him to be a leader because he's watching me exactly how I'm doing, right? And at the end of the day, right, your business should grow without you being here 24/7. Like if you need to take a Sunday off because you need to recharge because you've been on a million Zoom calls throughout the week, you shouldn't feel like your team is going to fall apart without you, right? You should feel like you have leaders in your team, you're building leaders in your team that that they're solid and that that they're learning and duplicating what you're teaching them, right? And so that is what I got for you guys today. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this training over to Austin so he can go ahead and finish the rest of the training. Thank you guys for having me.
Yo, come on, family. Hey, drop some fire emojis in the chat. Yo, I really, really appreciate you, sis, for real. Yo, I'm telling you guys, like, for that being the first time she's like spoke on a Zoom for a leadership society training, I want to say that was like tremendously, one, way better than me, and like two, way better than the average person out here, which is why clearly here in Alpha X we are not average, right? But yes, family, if everything that our sis just went over, right, made sense, drop a 111 in the chat because seriously, when it comes down to taprooting, like that is how we build levels deep, right? When you work with the newest person and you explore the newest possibility of momentum, right? And like she said, you're hands-on with them in that process, then all of a sudden you start to actually see growth with your business. And that's what I'm gonna cover when it comes down to my topic as well, family. And yeah, we're gonna keep expanding on that. Okay, so yeah, family, I'm gonna drop my stuff real quick just so we're not strangers. For anybody that doesn't know me, by the way, my name is Austin Lewis. I'm a 26-year-old entrepreneur out here in Kansas City, Missouri. And before this opportunity, I was a full-time music artist, right? Somebody that was constantly around people, somebody that's constantly creating, right, or curating certain type of events. And I can say it was super crazy because this came to me after spending 6 months with a lot of retired different multimillionaires, and a lot of them reached those different levels through entrepreneurship and investing, right? And the last conversation I had before we hit the pandemic and everybody's on lockdowns was, yo, I I think that you're an entrepreneur, like not just an artist. And I was like, whoa. So then all of a sudden, stepping into this whole opportunity, guys, seeing the vision from day one, chairman season, if you're an OG, you already know the deal, right? But like, seriously, like this platform has changed my life, right? Between building the connection with myself and understanding me on the inside, right? It's allowed me to actually connect deeper with my relationships, right? We're in network marketing, right? When it comes down to our business model. And that is literally relationship building. So when you have people you are building relationships with, right, all of a sudden, we together are going to have a positive environment and we're going to create a positive culture of conducive growth, right? So being able to help people get vulnerable, being able to help people see themselves for who they are, where they're at right now, and help them get to their goals. So, family, drop Taprooting in the chat if you're ready for your business to multiply, expand, and grow. Because I'm gonna go over a few different steps, and we are just gonna, make it quick and get out of here. Okay. Don't want to take too much of y'all's time. So yeah, let me share my screen one more time. Bow, bow. Perfect. All right, sweet. So basically going over a little bit of what our sis just closed out, right? The 5-step taprooting process, okay? Number one, just like Pam said, okay, identifying the key players. Who seriously wants to run the business, right? Like who is locked in? Who is telling you, yo, bro, I can't wait for the next event because of the breakthroughs I'm gonna have, and I'm looking forward to become a leader one day. People tell you their aspirations, right? If you haven't ever figured out somebody's why, that is like the first thing you should do whenever you're identifying where people are from the customer having and creating results, then all of a sudden building the business. So understanding what moves people, right? Their whys, you're going to understand who seriously wants to run the business. Once you identify that, you want to edify and plug them in to stuff like Mornings with Nano or Cruisers, PD sessions. I don't know why there's a question mark, by the way. So that's not a question, okay? It's not a question. Hop on Mornings with Nano or hop on Cruisers personal development sessions on EOV Live, right? Hop on Trend Tribe sessions, plug into the academy, okay? Plug into the team Zoom trainings, also the intro to Alpha X calls. Why are these things important? Because it's keeping people in the actual proximity, in the actual campfire. You want to keep them close to the fire, right? If you're all in, you're in the fire. You feel me? But for your newest person, what's going to get them to understand how they can move is by putting them in those environments with people moving. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? Right? When you are plugging people into somebody like a Tia Bolden, when you're plugging people into somebody like a Zion, when you are plugging people in to somebody like a Matthew Cruz or a Nano Torres, you are putting your people in proximity of other people that have the results, that have the posture, that have the way they're looking to talk or even explain it, express the business. You're showing them these different things, which is everything we do, right? You're showing them these different ways of how they can stay locked in, okay? Because you don't want somebody to sign up. You want them to actually want this for themselves because you're going to have to convince them to do everything if you have to convince them to even sign up, right? So once you identify your key players, step number one. Number two, you identify these systems, right? The things that we have available, okay? And number three, we want to launch with speed, okay? Now, I do want to say success loves not just speed, but success loves urgency, okay? When you move with the purpose, you move urgently, all right? Whenever you have somebody that's coming to a Super Saturday, right? Like, how many people here have guests coming to the Super Saturday? Drop in the chat real quick for me, okay? Like, drop in the chat real quick. If you have one guest even coming, right, to the Super Saturday, drop in the chat for me real quick. All right, let me know. Now, my next question for you is, have you asked that person if they want to bring somebody, right? Have you asked that person if they know anybody that wants to come through too? Because sometimes we get excited about somebody coming through, but then all of a sudden, like, we didn't taproot in that process either, right? I've seen Cruiser literally like multiply his whole guest list by literally asking somebody, hey, by the way, the event's getting super full, right? I wanted to call and confirm and make sure that you can be there. Yeah, for sure. Da da da. Okay. All right, perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome. And oh, by the way, are you gonna be coming alone or do you have any friends that want to come with you? I just need to know so I can put them on a group list, right? Or the guest list. Now all of a sudden that person's like, yeah, bro, I've been on so many calls where I've seen this man literally have somebody be like, no, yeah, he's coming. Like, no, yeah, my cousin's on the way with me. Yeah, he's coming for sure. You know? So like being able to multiply is super important. So when you're launching somebody urgently and fast, right? These are different things that can help them, right? When we help them enroll their first 3 to 5 people, they're stepping into the leadership role, right? They're all of a sudden having to lead more than just themselves. Okay? They're having to more now think about how their actions that they take personally actually get duplicated. It's just like raising kids. You can tell them anything to do, but they're watching what you do, right? Just like Pam was saying earlier, people are going to be paying attention. People are going to be watching you. People are going to be looking for your help. So whenever you're setting that pace and that expectation of, hey, yo, by the way, you know, I know you're studying stuff like that, but bro, we got this Super Saturday coming up in a couple days. Do you have anybody that will come with you, bro? Simple, right? All of a sudden, I've seen a couple different things where people even hop on a call with somebody and literally be like, yo, go on the page with them. What about this person? Yo, go on their page, go through their following with them on a Zoom. Yo, what about this person on their Facebook? Yo, what about this person? Right? And get them to start thinking of who, because sometimes we get connected with so many people in life, but then all of a sudden later on, we forgot that we even had all these other people. So when you're going through these different things with your people and helping them find others that they can invite or bring with them to an event, all of a sudden that allows them to have that in-person momentum in closing, right? Yeah, that's lit. Step number 4, building in depth. Okay. Working with people's recruits like they are your own. All right. Yes, we want to build people to be independent. Yes, we want to help people. But just like Pam mentioned earlier, what if JoJo's confidence wasn't all the way there when it comes down to leadership? But he's building and building and building, but his confidence isn't all the way up here. Well, when you step in as that mentor and say, yo, JoJo, my brother, what's up? Yo, who's your homie? I bet. Let's work together. Let's work with him. All of a sudden, right? Just like how I have some people in Arizona right now. We have this guy, Alejandro, one of his best friends and first signups, Ricky, all of a sudden started hanging out with Ale, right? Well, me and Ale were grinding all the time. So he would pull up to a coffee shop, Zoom with me, and we get in a whole blitz session in, right? Well, his friends started timing along. And now all of a sudden, we are working all together. I got a whole, rental car and everything with just the two of them, right, for Miami. There's different things. When you start working with people like they're your own, that's whenever community and that presence really starts getting felt, because people feel like they're on your family, right? People feel like they're really connected with you, especially whenever you bring your big brother, your big sis like Tia coming through here and you're like, yo, I got the best support team in the world. I can say that with confidence. It's like if you had MJ, Kobe, and all the best players of basketball and told me to go pick somebody to run a 5v5 with, guys that walk around like I have confidence out the world. I'm the worst basketball player in the world. But with them on my team, right? One, I know I'm not going to play my worst because they're the best. So I got to play my best if I'm working with the best. And two, I'm going to help you get connected to the best. So as they're coaching me and I'm coaching you, they're coaching you too, right? They're getting coached by each other if you think about it, in the whole dynamic of things, right? So it's really amazing. Heck, even for instance, we got Raj on here too. I just ran a whole blitz call with Raj for 45 minutes with his team in Belgium, right? I got 31 DMs reach outs wise, or 35 actually. I got 35 reach outs done. Everybody else got 15 done. Raja got some more done too, right? And we spent that time helping them actually understand stuff. Raj is not even in my lineage of business, but he's on the same community as me, right? And just because I've been working with Raj like he is my own person, we just popped a 2 and 3 in Belgium a couple weeks ago, right? Those same guests that we had on the call an hour ago had guests at the actual event that took place in Antwerp, right? All of a sudden, momentum is happening, and this isn't even for my own business, but that is a version of taprooting because as a mentor of our community, stepping into different places and working with people like they're your own, that's how community is actually felt in team culture, right? Just like you hear about Zion all the time. Yo, he's not even on my team, but he's helping my people, right? Heck, for instance, Pam's on Alex's team. I didn't even ask Alex for Pam to open. I just hit up Pam, was like, yo, sis, I saw you just smash gold. Like, what's up? Right? She was like, oh, I'm busy. You know, I got this class thing going on. I'm like, yo, totally understand. Called me later, was like, yo, actually, I got that time freed up. Wow. Right? Things happen. Okay, so step number one, identifying your key players. Step number two, identify and plug in the systems. Step number three, launch with urgency, launch fast. Step number four, building in depth, working with people like they're your own people. And step number five, guys, promoting events, right? Like, I'm gonna tell y'all about a call that's happening in a couple hours. There's something called an op call. If you're on here, by the way, mute yourself, please, because once I start touching stuff on the screen, everything else is gonna malfunction. All right. Thank you. But anyways, step number five being promoting events, right? Here in a few hours, we have a op event with one of the best in the world to do it. Somebody that's also a personal development educator, somebody I've seen speak across thousands and thousands of different calls, somebody who's been able to speak in front of probably hundreds of thousands of people at this point, and has dropped value at almost every single company convention for almost the last decade, right? That person is going to be hosting a call, breaking down the information of how people can properly get into everything that we do here, right? So I want you to invite somebody to tonight's call because of just that reason alone. The person who's breaking it down is a prime example of everything here. Second, building your business and helping yourself, get into personal momentum, you promoting these different calls when it comes down to the business, you promoting even a call like this where you're learning different skills and taprooting, you promoting Miami Thrive event, right? All these other different things. Like they say all the time, which you celebrate, you accelerate, right? I remember being at a convention, looking around, and was like, yo, the next time I'm out here in Arizona, my team's gonna be everywhere, right? The next time I came out to Arizona, we had a 50-person event fill up a room the first time we even launched the city, right? But before that, I first stepped in there and I was promoting that Arizona regional like it was one of the biggest company conventions in the US. You feel me? What I had to get there too and start envisioning and seeing the vision aligning with action wise, like everything else happened, right? So when you promote events, big things happen at events. You want to get there yourself and you want to get your people there, right? We were just talking to Pam how she can get from Mexico to Miami. We was just looking at flights, everything. I just put her onto a different website to give her cheaper flights. We literally found something that took like $200-300 off of the round trip just from hopping on a call real quick. You know what I mean? So like promote events, right? Promote these Zoom calls. These are the backbone of our business. All right. And just remember, the deeper your team, the stronger your income, right? And I'm only talking about income, not because money is the focus, but that's just a result of you doing the work. That's just a result of you literally building depth in your team. That's just a result of you actually taprooting, right? So when it comes down to it, family, the last thing I'm going to talk about is how you can taproot a little bit. All right. How you can expand, how you can grow, and how you can also launch and duplicate with your actual members on your team. Okay, if this is making sense, drop a 555 in the chat for me real quick. And family, I'm gonna wrap this thing up with a bow, and I got you. Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. All right, now getting into the topic of helping new members expand fast, right? I love using fast because I'm not talking about results coming quick. All right. I'm talking about urgency, like we talked about again. All right. So when it comes down to it, we want to be moving with urgency. We want to be setting the standard with urgency. And I'm not talking about a rush, and I'm not talking about not being professional or organized, right? But like urgently helping your people understand or see the vision or buy into the vision. I remember speaking with Gabe and was like, yo, like buying into the vision, bro. Like that's where it's at. Helping people see the vision, helping people want this for themselves, right? Because we can do everything, we can do the calls, we can give them the information, we could do that. But if they don't want it for themselves, it's different, right? So after we did that whole thing of identifying the person that wants it most, after we, worked with them, after we helped them get into momentum, here are a few different ways that we can expand on that, right? Number one, social media outreach, right? This says DM scripts. When it comes down to scripts, guys, I don't have like a script when it comes down to like the whole conversation, but like usually my first outreach message is somewhat the same. Okay. So sending that right message to build that curiosity in even people that are interested, or maybe they know a little bit about it, your warm market, right? People you kind of know of or know more. And then you also have your cold market. Like for instance, I sent 25 messages out yesterday to buddies that I used to go to high school with. So for me, I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? It's been a minute, right? Would love to chop it up with you, man. Cool. Cold market wise, I'm like, yo, Pam, hey sis, I love your content. I would love to connect with you on a business level. What all do you do? Right? Bow, I'm sending that out. When you are consistently doing outreach on social media, that literally like allows you to for sure have some type of responses. Like I've seen Cruiser do at least 20 a day. I've seen him do a lot more, but like him being consistent in general is what has been allowing him to have consistent leads. I've seen him be able to literally sign up 15, 20 plus people, right? 10 people in a month just from social media alone. So when you have the content, and I'm not talking about the content as in like the high quality slow mo, I'm a freaking what's up, guys. I'm talking about like when you have content displaying where you're at right now, right? I'm talking about when you have content, showing what you're doing right now, right? Everybody wants to have like the movie content and then think that it has to be so perfect and stuff. And then they end up not even posting it. And then like attraction marketing like is dead and it's not even there anymore. Right. But when you actually post content of where you are right now and you do that consistently, right? All of a sudden people will start to see your growth because even 10 posts ago, like you were different. A year ago, stuff was mad different. If you go all the way down to a year on my Instagram, bro, growth. And I'm not just talking about my hair either, because if you go to a year, I was almost like bald looking, right? But still, being able to share testimonies and excitement to attract interest, that's super important. Social proof is something that's super important when it comes down to social media because we talk about a team, we talk about everything, we talk about these group trips, but then if you took no content, you go home, you got the same post from a year ago still on your page, and that's the only thing you posted. Now people's belief level in you and your credibility, it goes down, right? So whenever you go out, heck, I remember being at Orlando convention, and this is when I first started applying this stuff a few years ago. And I literally walked out of the convention on one of our breaks. There was a whole slew of people everywhere. And I told my teammate, I said, yo, bro, take a video of me real quick. Just follow me. He was like, all right, bet. Literally, the video is this. Yo, guys, you see all the variations of people. I didn't even know what I was saying. Like, I wasn't even good at content yet, right? But I'm just like, social proof. Guys, look, you don't even have to be a certain race. You don't have to be a certain age. You don't have to be male, woman, whatever it is, like family. Like you could be you and succeed. Look at all the different types of people that are here. Social proof, right? Testimonies, other things like that. Super fire. Number two, home events. All right. Now, by the way, I'm almost done too, guys. So well, let's get it. But number two, home events, having these mini launch parties, right? Whenever your person is launching and they are excited, just like Pam was talking about, leveraging that excitement, yo, let's host a home event, right? Why a home event? Family, why a home event? Well, why do you think it would be more comfortable for somebody to go to somebody's home that they know versus like a hotel event, guys? Like, let me know in the chat. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Because I just genuinely want to know what you guys think. Like, for real. People feel comfortable going to a place they've been before. Doesn't look so business formal. The connection, right? All that stuff is correct. Even if somebody came in with a suit looking fresh, like our boy Nano, like our boy AWOL, right? Always pulling up with the suits, right? The guests are comfortable because they've been to that in palm, right? That new person that's actually like promoting it's that person's home event. They're comfortable because they know that person. We always talk about what people buy from who they like, know, and what. Let me know in the chat. People buy from who they like, know, and what? Trust. Trust. Trust, exactly. And that's why home events are effective. Because when you are doing a physical edification with this home event, because you have your mentors, you have the team, even, you have yourself, right? All of a sudden, it gives them even a better, like, red carpet, basically. And they're able to do their thing. The guests are coming in feeling extra comfortable. Now, don't get me wrong, Super Saturdays, yo, get in the room and get people in the room. All right. When it comes down to any event, get people in the room. All right. But if you know that somebody wants to build a business and they haven't ran an at home event yet, bro, we're sleeping. We're sleeping, bro. Because we launched that home event before the Super Saturday. All of a sudden, we got more guests to the Super Saturdays. We launched that home event before they start hopping on op calls that are weekly and everything else, right? All of a sudden, they're going to have more guests going to those different op calls, weeklies, and everything else, right? Because that is going to be an in person thing that's building a form of trust, and you will be able to have a leader close with a clear call to action, right? One thing that Tia is super fire at, right? Closing with a call to action, all right? And allowing the professional to then get the trust from your guests, their environment, and allow you to do your thing as a mentor, all right? Number three, plugging into local and online events, team trade nights, culture nights, right? You want to get guests in the room, like I was just talking about, because they're going to be able to see that environment, that energy, the energy transfer that takes place, and actually experience something. Even on the Zoom calls, this is an experience, right? Listening to information, writing it down, going and applying that, seeing how that changes your business, seeing how that changes, your results, seeing how that changes, then all of a sudden, basically your life, right? That's a whole experience. And that's why it's super important for people to plug into these things because everybody's going to be able to take something from it. You go apply that, now people can actually get properly educated and get involved with our business. Okay. Now the last thing I'm gonna talk about. Yo, hey, if this call has made any type of sense, and if this call has helped you in any type of way, drop a 111 in the chat real quick, family. Because like seriously, like taprooting, everything else, this is one of my favorite topics because I've been able to see so much happen just from this skill set alone. Okay. Now, let me see who is not muted. Oh, my sister Amber. Love you, sis. Love you, sis. Perfect. All right, cool. Sweet. Now, the last thing, okay? group launch events with other leaders. I know you guys heard of some focus groups getting created, and guess what? The top leaders of Alpha X decided to have a few people launch together. Why is this super important? Well, whenever you're collaborating with teammates to launch new members faster and bigger, it then creates an environment of literally, if you put, for instance, everybody in here that wants to build a business, if you guys were all placed in my room right now, it'd be packed as hell, right? And if we had a whole environment of everybody hitting the phones, that's all I'm gonna see when I'm in this room. Everybody hitting the phones. If everybody in this room is on a call, guess what? That's all I'm gonna see. Everybody on the call, right? When one person drops, another person signs up, another person got somebody on a three-way call that's about to sign up, everybody is in this room. Why am I saying that? We talked about proximity, right? When people are in focus groups and when everybody's moving and when everybody's doing certain things with intentionality, well, intention, yeah, I think I said that right. Everybody's doing things intentionally, right? People, all of a sudden, that energy, all of a sudden, that environment is going to rub off, right? Seeing Zion literally post the vibe of the day to all his prospects, bro, I started doing that stuff. He even posted in the freaking group chat when it comes down to the platinum huddle, right? I look at these things. I see that stuff daily. He's even done trainings on it. And then literally all of a sudden recently, I'm like, oh, I see the vibe of the day thing on my little law of attraction Instagram post, screenshot. Bow, prospects. You know what I mean? Like, for real. Now I've gotten some great responses, right? But I was in that environment, in that focus group. I saw other leaders doing certain other things that I know I needed to do as well. But seeing them get it done is what made me like, all right, cool. Iron sharpens iron, bro. Like, let's get it. You know, same thing when it came down to the actual games that we just had, right? So that's why it's super important. Action step, guys. Which method will help you in your newest member launch this week, right? Whatever the next rank you are, okay? Or whatever, let's say you need to duplicate when it comes down to your business. My challenge for you guys is to like go out there and do that, right? If you know, for instance, like me, I'm literally 3 golds from diamond, right? Knowing that, that's what I'm looking to duplicate, right? If I was a gold, what would I have to be doing? I'd have to be presenting. I'd have to be leveraging my mentor. I'd have to be doing outreach. I'd have to be doing attraction marketing. I'd have to be pulling up to the Zoom calls, taking notes, applying the information, being on Go Live, right? All these different things. I have to be and duplicate that in those different legs of mine. Even though I'm not looking at it as 1, 2, 3 legs that we have to build, 1, 2, 3 legs that we have to motivate. Oh my God, here's a weak leg over here. Family, we are leading our whole organization. Okay? Like, yes, we have to build in a certain dynamic, but we are leading as a whole organization, right? So, whatever ranks you guys need to duplicate to reach the next level, family, I would love to see you all go do that. And I want to see y'all in Miami, okay, walking stage as that next rank that you all deserve, family. Yo, 50 being on this call damn near the whole time. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you guys. Yo, drop some love again for our sis Pam for crushing this stuff. Literally, because that was so fire to me. I'm not gonna lie, so fire. Last minute pickup, literally 2 hours before the call. So fire, right? Ran this training like she been running a million trainings. You feel me? This is what we love to see here, guys. So I appreciate everybody here. If you want this recording, DM me, let me know. We got y'all. Have a great one and have a good night, guys.